Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus and see how the specific device has held up for the last 2 months. Now, it's only been 2 months, but it feels like it's already been almost like a year, which is pretty crazy. And the reason for that is because these phones have, they came here, they got released, but then they kind of left. And I haven't really heard too many people talking about at least the Galaxy S23 Plus in particular. And what's very sad is that we're actually getting some rumors and reports that the S23 Plus could actually end up being one of the last Plus phones that Samsung is going to make. Now, I hope that's not the case because I've always loved the Plus phone, pretty much even since like the S6 Edge Plus that came out like in 2015 or 2016, whenever it came out. And with the S23 Plus, I think this is a really, really good quality phone. But with that price tag and everything considered, it is insane how fast these phones kind of depreciate. So, first of all, I will say, nothing crazy has been reported that is making these phones, being horrible or that there's like a major recall or anything like that. I think these phones have been doing a really good job at kind of hopefully being a little bit of a better and less controversial device compared to the Galaxy S22s. I feel like with the S22s, I was hearing a lot from those phones. With the S23s, it's good that they're kind of flying under the radar. There were a few things here and there, I think, but for the most part, really too many people haven't been complaining about this phone, which I think is super awesome. The display looks very good, the build quality is still very, very good, and the back of this phone still looks pretty decent, but still about 2 months later, my biggest complaint of the S23 Plus has pretty much been not the camera quality, but just the way the camera looks on the back. I don't really like this complete flat back, and I mentioned this in my other review as well. I think it has something to do with the Galaxy A14, and the fact that the A14 came out a little bit before the S23s. The A14 looked like this, and I didn't like that, and with the S23s looking like the A14, that was a very weird thing that Samsung decided to do here. So I think personally with something like the S23 Plus, it looks great. The camera on the back, not a big fan of the way it looks, but the camera quality on this thing is still very beautiful. And no matter what you're going to do, this thing is going to hold up very well against really any other phone camera. Now, I had the chance of comparing this, phone for the most part against almost every single phone you could think of in its, direct comparison review. So the Nothing phone, the iPhones, the Pixels, the other Samsung phones, the OnePlus 11 I even compared it to. And I think this phone did a really good job comparing against its, direct competitors. I think the Galaxy S23 Plus versus the iPhone 14 Plus, the S23 Plus I think is definitely the more featureful phone, and I would love to see the sales numbers between those. I think the iPhone 14 Plus would end up selling better, but I wouldn't be surprised if the S23 Plus, if a lot of people end up loving this phone more than the iPhone 14 Plus. Now on top of that, I think the performance has been very good from a phone like this. You're getting that 8 Gen 2 chipset inside, and from everything that I've heard from a lot of people, including from myself, from my personal opinion, this phone is a very, very good performing phone. It doesn't really have anything extra that the S23 doesn't already have. It's just like a bigger display and a bigger size battery. But I really do like how Samsung did kind of upgrade the chipset a little bit this year, and I feel like that may have been the biggest complaint last year. Although I felt like that chipset was a big performance, from the 888 to the Gen 1. The thing you have to remember is that with the Gen 2, this is a more optimized chipset that's hopefully not going to, burn your phone while you're using it. And that was kind of the biggest complaint that a majority of people were kind of having with the S23 Plus. So it's not the end of the world with the, S23 Plus having a better, more optimized chipset. It's actually a really good thing because you're not going to have those thermal throttling issues. You're not going to have this phone that's going to suck up battery life like crazy. Although the battery life, depending on what you're going to do with it, is going to go down a lot. From what I've read in my personal experience, it hasn't really been it hasn't been like a massive battery drain when playing games. Not more than what I can remember, like my Pixel 7 Pro kind of draining a battery too when I'm playing like certain emulators, whatever. So I still think the Pixel 7s have better battery life, but the S23 Plus has a really good battery life as well. And to kind of sum it up, although this isn't like a full review 2 months later, I do think that this phone has, there's not that much to complain about here. I think maybe in the next few months, if there's some crazy big drama, maybe there's going to be a little bit more spiciness and drama to talk about. But the S23 Plus has been a very solid phone for my opinion. And of course, with every single phone release, you're going to have little tiny issues and problems. The Google Pixels have it, the iPhones have it. The OnePlus 11, though, in my opinion, has probably had the most amount of issues I've ever had from a brand new device. I'm not too sure how people are able to say that phone is so good and all this stuff when I was experiencing so many issues with it. The battery life wasn't that great. I think my iPhone 14 was outperforming my OnePlus 11 battery life, which is saying something. So at the end of the day, I think the S23 Plus is probably one of the better phones that have came out this year, but we are about to experience so many phones dropping. We could probably experience a Pixel Fold dropping. The new Z Fold and Z Flips are probably coming this year. So it's going to be a lot of phones, and I cannot wait for them to come out. And the S23 Plus is doing justice for the rest of the Samsung phones that are going to be coming out this year. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.